changes as historic.
The union contract that ended the strike last spring includes protections for teachers of color. The provisions agreed to by the district and by the union by a 76% vote are sparking some controversy online.
This started because someone read the fine print. They were only giving people that were not Afro and Black Americans time off, upgraded pay, and other things like that in a contract or a union. But it was based off of race.
3 weeks of classrooms closed and educators on the picket line, the Minneapolis Federation of Teachers and Minneapolis Public Schools struck a deal in late March. At a news conference, union leaders said the contract didn't go far enough, but highlighted some victories.
We have historic wins around supporting and retaining educators of color.
In Minnesota, 5.6% of licensed teachers identify as a teacher of color or Native American, compared to 30% of students. Minneapolis is one of the most diverse districts in the state. And like others, its educator workforce falls short of reflecting that.
Well, the research literature is very clear that teachers of color have a positive impact not only on students of color, but also on white students. So there's this idea of if you can see it, you can be it.
Dr. Katie Bickel at the University of Minnesota says many districts use some form of last in, first out, a seniority-based system to determine who's laid off during budget cuts. District data in Minneapolis shows there are fewer teachers of color that are tenured, meaning they could be more impacted by this.
70% of the teaching force looks like me. They're middle-class white women. And so these efforts to diversify the educator workforce to have them more closely mirror what our students in our classrooms look like are why we're seeing policy changes and contract changes.
In Minneapolis, the contract doesn't do away with seniority, but they add a carve-out to the contract to protect teachers of color. The new language says, quote, past discrimination by the district disproportionately impacted the hiring of underrepresented teachers in the district, and that resulted in a lack of diversity of teachers. It allows the district to protect underrepresented populations from layoffs, regardless of seniority. Other seniority exceptions already existed, like for teachers trained in immersion, Montessori, and certain literacy programs. The new Minneapolis teacher contract also provides mentorship support and creates an anti-racist, anti-bias council.
I'm proud of the courageous leadership of the union and the district to negotiate a contract that recognizes the need and the importance of having and retaining teachers of color.
Former Minneapolis Superintendent Bernadette Johnson praised the move by her former district to recruit and retain teachers of color, but she acknowledges that these changes alone aren't the only solution to getting more diverse educators in the classroom.
Well, there's no one silver bullet. So this is not the only strategy, but it's one of the ones that could be deployed, so why not?